people, LP2000, right back at you with another video. Yes, welcome back. Welcome back to Lesser Chambers Kaiju Reviews on behalf of Summit Kaiju and on behalf on the Future Awesome Show, courtesy of the Kaiju Cast, Collect All Monsters. Yes. I'm your host, the one and the only Leslie P. Chambers. Thank y'all so much for being back with me today. Yes. Man, it feels like it's been a while since we've gotten together. I know I've been kind of sporadic with my videos as of late. I've had a lot going on, honestly. But I'm back, now I'm refueled, now I'm recharged, and I'm ready to get all these reviews out the way. And as I was coming back from vacation, I was like, man, I got like 12 to 13 projects that I got to do. In addition to other stuff I have coming down the pipeline in the future. But you know what? I'm going to focus on getting these videos out to y'all. You know what I mean? I know I've been kind of slacking just a little bit lately. But like I said, I got like 10 or 12 projects to do between figure reviews, movie reviews, live stream ideas. But you know what? I say, you know what? If I'm going to come back after a vacation and get my mind right or whatever, what better way to come back on today, November 3rd, 2019. And today is, of course, is Godzilla's birthday. Yes, it is. Yes. The King of the Monsters in all his glory turns 65 years old today. 65 years ago, Godzilla was unleashed upon the world, and we have not recovered since. And you know what? It's been for the better. It's been for the better. And I know in my last couple of videos, I talked about that my video in honor of Godzilla's birthday was going to be a 1964 Godzilla showcase, a figure showcase, where I would showcase figures of my favorite version of Godzilla, the Mosu Goji, the 1964 Godzilla from Martha vs. Godzilla, and Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. I was going to showcase all the figures that I have here in my collection of that particular Godzilla and talk about why I love him so much and what I recommend. I recommend all of them, really. And that was going to be the video project I was going to upload today. However, when I got back into town a couple of days ago, this came on my radar. And at first I wasn't going to get it. I'll talk about more about that later on. But today's focus is going to be about the Criterion Collection of the Godzilla Showa film series in high-def Blu-ray format. Yes, it is. All the Godzilla films from my favorite era of the Godzilla film franchise, the Showa era. Every Godzilla film from 1954 to 1975 has just got this glorious, and I mean glorious, release. Glorious! Courtesy of the Criterion Collection. Yes. And I got my hands on it last night, and I've been going through it for the past 12, 13 hours. And let me just tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this thing is awesome. This thing is off the chain. I highly recommend this. Of course, you're going to hear that a lot during the course of this video. So let's get cracking with this release. Now, the Criterion Collection is basically like an American home video distribution company that focuses on releasing important classic and contemporary films and restoring and or selling them to film aficionados or people that love movies. You know, these great groundbreaking movies. And of course, some of the movies that they have gotten in their collection where they have gotten their hands on and licensed and restored or whatever. Great, powerful films like Yojimbo, Seven Samurai, the original 310 to Yuma, Hamlet, Beauty and the Beast. Just great, important, powerful films. Really just thought-provoking and just amazing films that stand out when it comes to like films and all that good stuff, right? And Godzilla has been recognized to be one of these icons that Criterion Collection wanted to add to their roster of great films. And when this was first announced a few months ago, I was really on the fence about getting it because, of course, these are done in high-definition Blu-ray format. But I have got my hands on Godzilla Blu-rays in the past of the Showa films as well as the other films, whether it's through the Japanese Toho release, Blu-ray release, whether it's through Kraken, release, whether it's through Tokyo Shock or my Sony DVDs that I've gotten, in the past. Trust me, I got every Godzilla film, whether it's on DVD or Blu-ray. And I really didn't see the need at first to get this release. But once I got my hands on it, And once I started just going through the films and going through the bonus features that this release has, this really is a must-have if you're a Godzilla fan, as well as if you're a Showa fan. You need to have this release, even though if you may have these films already in different formats. Trust me, you need this release, and I'm gonna tell you why. First and foremost, look at the packaging. This is an awesome package of the Godzilla films. Every Godzilla films from 1954, like I said, through 1975. They could have very easily put this like in a, an ordinary or customary multiple disc Blu-ray type of pack, whatever. But they decided to go all out with this big, elaborate type of photo book, right? Where you not only have sleeves where you could put the films in, but they have like this stunning artwork devoted to every single film. Not to mention it has like a synopsis written up by great kaiju historian Ed Gojicheski. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, good sir. But he's a kaiju historian that knows pretty much everything about Godzilla, Tokusatsu, and all that great stuff. And every single film has a synopsis, a written synopsis on the film and kind of ins and outs of the film of Mr. Gojicheski, excuse me. So you have this great artwork, you know what I'm saying? Now, some of the artwork, that's the thing. And I've been seeing people being split on this release. Some people love it, some people like or whatever. And one of the biggest criticisms I've seen thrown this release's way when it comes to people is really the artwork. Like, there's some artwork, when it comes to a particular film that is actually absolutely accurate. Like, for example, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. The artwork in this book devoted to that film shows Mechagodzilla and King Caesar in a very artistic type of way, with the colors vibrant or that pop out at you. But then you have some films like Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster that just comes off as weird. It has like an eclectic type of eccentric type of look to it, where it has like Godzilla and Ghidorah in battle, but it's kind of like just it's kind of a weird image. It's not really reflective of the film. You know what I'm saying? Or Godzilla vs. Hedra, where it shows Godzilla fighting Hedra in like a city situation, but Hedra's like the wrong color, But I look at it like this: the artwork on these films, at least when it comes to this release, I look at it as like a step in the right direction. Now, it may not be accurate in a lot of respects, but I appreciate the effort. And the effort is trying to grab eyes, to grab more people drawn to this product. You know what I mean? Now, those who know about the films will know that this doesn't go with that film, that doesn't go with that film, and blah, blah, blah. But like for the casual fan, I think these will appeal for us like artwork, you know what I mean? And like I said, they're really vibrant, really colorful artwork, which is reflective of the films, because all the Showa films, at least a good majority of them, are very colorful, with vibrant colors just popping out at you, with the yellow and reds and greens and stuff like that. Only a couple of them, like Godzilla vs. Hedra and the nighttime scenes of Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster and maybe Terra Mechagodzilla, they're kind of dark and kind of dreary in a lot of respects. But the films, for the most part, are really colorful, vibrant films, which is really the charm of the Showa series anyway. And the artwork in these particular artwork pertaining to the films in the set really just adds to the overall just overall essence of this release. Now, I don't want to go into a lot of detail about this release. I'll go through as much as I can because I really want everybody to really get their hands on this release. All right. Now, let me tell you more about the picture itself. Now, the picture quality of the films are great. They really are great. Now, it's a step up from the Sony DVDs because it's Blu-ray. Everything has been restored and the transfers are really good. Now, keep in mind, these films are like 50 or 60 years old. Right, so some films are not going to look pristine like Shin Godzilla or the recent Godzilla King of the Monsters, so keep that in mind. But I say for the most part, they have done a phenomenal job of restoring these films to make them as pristine as they can, but yet they do have a little grain into them, which gives off a kind of vintage vibe, which I think is the charm of the Showa series as well, because, they are vintage films in a lot of respects. And I like how in the transfers, you get that vibrant, colorful, just really just upgraded look of the film, but yet you still have that little grainy spots here and there that gives off a vintage vibe that doesn't take away from the restoration upgrade, but gives that vintage vibe that we all grew up watching, you know, on our television sets. You know what I'm saying? So the picture quality in this film, so where it's from Mothra vs. Godzilla, where you see Mothra on top of Godzilla, the colors that pop out in that film, you know, or Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, 1974, or maybe Terror of Mechagodzilla. You know what I'm saying? And I talked about like the darker movies like Hedra and Sea Monster. Like even the darker movies that are kind of dreary, have nighttime shots, even those shots look really clear. You know what I'm saying? And it's also like and also as I said, the picture quality is great, but it gives off that vintage vibe. But my thing is this: with these films, you know, being made back in the day, you know, there are a lot of things that they had to do to get these monsters come to life. Like King Ghidorah, for example, they had to have like many off-camera operators to bring that thing to life. You know, with his multiple heads, his wings, his tails. Or Kumonga, the same thing, the giant spider with multiple legs. Or Godzilla himself, an off-camera operator had to operate his tail and stuff like that. So I love how even though these films are upgraded to the best condition possible, it still gives off that somewhat grainy vibe that kind of like hides like the strings controlling King Ghidorah's head, or the string controlling Godzilla's tail, or the strings keeping Kumonga in place, stuff like that. So it gives off the best of both worlds type of treatment with this release and with the transfers from these films, you know? Now, my experience with the Criterion Collection is I got the original Godzilla 1954 release from Criterion, I want to say at least 7 to 8 years ago. It's been a long time, you know. So, and that was one of the reasons why I wasn't going to get this, because basically if you got that release, this is what is included in this release as well, as far as like the original Godzilla film. But you not only get that, but you also get the American cut of Godzilla King of the Monsters starring Raymond Burr on that disc as well. And I like that, I really do, because between the two films, I actually prefer the American version, you know, especially also King Kong vs. Godzilla, Ghidorah Three-Headed Monster, you know what I mean? So I love how Criterion just included those little bonus features into this set. I'm not done with the bonus features because there's more to come. Now, as far as like the set itself, it comes in basically 8 discs. It comes in 8 discs. The first disc is devoted to Godzilla, the original film, and Godzilla King of the Monsters. The second disc is devoted to Godzilla Raids Again and King Kong vs. Godzilla. The third disc is Mothra vs. Godzilla, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, and Monster Zero. The fourth disc is Godzilla vs. Sea Monster, Son of Godzilla, and Destroy All Monsters. The fifth disc is Godzilla's Revenge and Godzilla vs. Hedra. The sixth disc is Godzilla vs. Guy Again and Godzilla vs. Megalon. The seventh disc is, of course, the last 2 Mechagodzilla films, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 1974 and Terror of Mechagodzilla 1975. And what's cool about these films being multiple films on one disc, let's say you're watching the final battle to Destroy All Monsters on the, which disc is that? The 4th disc. Okay, you're watching the final battle, you're watching Godzilla beat up King Ghidorah and all the other mess, and let's say you want to jump to the final battle to Godzilla vs. Sea Monster. You can do that, because all these films, like I said, are on one disc, and it's very accessible where you can jump from one scene in one movie to another scene in a completely different movie. So that's awesome. You know, I really do enjoy that. For like the English dubs, there are English dubs in these films. A good majority of them are the Japanese cuts with English subtitles. The ones that I know have the English dubs is the original Godzilla. It has Godzilla King of the Monsters, like I said. King Kong vs. Godzilla. Let's see what's the other one. Godzilla vs. Monster Zero has the American dub. Let's see. Son of Godzilla has the American dub. Destroy All Monsters has the American dub. Let's see. And both Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla and Terror Mechagodzilla have the American dub, which is good. You know what I'm saying? Because we grew up on the dubs, you know what I mean? Of course, in my opinion, majority of these Godzilla films are better left when it comes to watching the Japanese version and just looking at the English subtitles. But it's nice to have these dubs that we grew up watching, you know, back in the day, included into some of these movies. Once again, it's not included in every movie, but the ones they chose, I thought it was a really good choice to make, you know. Now, it also has a bonus featured disc. It has, like I said, it has 7 discs devoted to the movies, and you have an 8th disc that has multiple bonus features that I have yet to dive into, but I skimmed through them before I made this review. And let me just tell you what you're in store for on this bonus disc. You have an interview from 1990 where you have the director of Godzilla vs. Hedorah, Yoshimitsu Banno, and he has an interview with the director of most of the classics from this set. The original Godzilla, Mothra vs. Godzilla, King Kong vs. Godzilla, Destroy All Monsters. Yes, the man himself, Inoshiro Honda, and Mr. Banno conducts an interview that was pulled from 1990. I think it was during the Directors Guild of Japan. I think that's what it said on the video. And Mr. Banno interviews Mr. Honda. I have yet to watch that, but I'm going to watch that, which is another thing why I believe you should go after this set. It also has an interview with I forgot his name, like the guy who played Jet Jaguar in Godzilla vs. Megalon, the suit actor in Jet Jaguar from Megalon. They do an interview with him. He talks about his experiences on the film and blah blah blah. It also has the Japanese cut to King Kong vs. Godzilla, which has never seen a stateside release ever. This is the first time where you see the uncut version to King Kong vs. Godzilla, which is another added bonus. And it also has a segment devoted to unused shots that they did shoot for some of these films, but they didn't make the final cut of the film. Basically, cutting room floor pieces, where you see an extended sequence, of Godzilla rising up out of the dirt and walking in Mothra vs. Godzilla when he first appears. You see a little mini fight between Godzilla and Manda from Destroy All Monsters. We've seen those like in past DVD and Blu-ray releases before, but it's nice that they included everything here. And it has pretty much almost every film from the Showa series. Even King Kong Escapes is up here. Water Gargantua's Frankenstein Conquers the World. That's another great piece. Also, our very own, yes, Jim Cirinella. I'm sure you heard his name before. He has gotten people X Plus figures and Rex, and he's a standout guy in our community. But from what I understand, he pieced together an interview. I think either he did or he was responsible of one of the last interviews that Akira Ifukube ever did before he passed away a while ago. So that is another great piece that's on the supplements. Once again, I have not dived into the supplements or the bonus features, but what they have offered here is amazing. And like I said, I have not gone through every single film, like where I watched them from beginning to end. I skimmed through them, just to see what the picture quality looks like, the sound quality, which does look good, sound good. I would have to say, between the sound quality between the Japanese version and the English version to the films that have the English dub, I think it's better to watch it with the Japanese version, at least with the Japanese soundtrack, because the music sounds not filtered. It doesn't sound muffled. It sounds more pure and it sounds more vibrant and dynamic. I'm not knocking the dubs, but it sounds kind of muffled when it comes to like roars and music and stuff like that. So I recommend you do the Japanese versions first and then go back and watch the dubs, however you want to do it. But still, the sound quality is top notch. The video quality is top notch. And what they have put together in this release between, like I said, this overall package, this overall big package. And the fact you have multiple films on one disc where you can access a scene for one movie and go to another movie if you want to without having to rip this disc out and put it in and blah, blah, blah. This was really a great release, and I highly recommend everybody to really get their hands on it. Now, I know some people are not really feeling this release because, like I said, they already have like copies of these films already. But if you like me, and if you love the Showa series, and especially if you're a collector, a figure collector, it's not like, you haven't bought the same thing twice back, before. Like in the X Plus Collectors Facebook group that I'm a part of, a lot of people double dip. A lot of people buy 2 of the same thing. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing. And of course, you may look at it as a cash grab, maybe on Toho's part. Maybe it is. But at the same time, considering what they put into it, the time and effort the Criterion Collection put into this release doesn't come off as a cash grab. It comes off as a thank you to the fans. And it comes off as, finally after all these years, for so many people that have thumbed their noses up at the Showa series, even some Godzilla fans to this day that maybe love the Heisei, the Millennium, the current Monsterverse, some of those fans and some of those like-minded people or casual people look down upon the Showa series. They find it goofy entertainment. They find the special effects to be just mediocre in comparison to the later films. And maybe it is to a certain extent to certain movies, but in my opinion, you should not thumb your noses down at the Showa series, because I've always said, without the Showa series, we wouldn't have the Heisei, we wouldn't have the Millennium, we would not have the current Monsterverse, even Godzilla King of Monsters that just came out a few months ago. A lot of references in that film were from the Showa films. Of course, you have a couple of references from the Millennium series and Heisei, but a good majority of those references or homages or Easter eggs were from the Showa series. And the Showa series laid the groundwork to make Godzilla what he is today. Basically just an awesome global icon that is loved by so many people, me included. So the fact that Criterion Collection took the time, and of course, you know, timing is everything. Of course, they did this because Godzilla King of Monsters did somewhat well in the box office. Everybody is loving Godzilla now and want to know more about him or whatever. So the time to release these films is timely. I'm sure in the end, you know, they want to make as much money as possible, but keep this in mind. They didn't have to do this. They didn't have to put the effort to bring these films to us on high definition format. They didn't have to put it in this awesome presentation. They didn't have to, you know, make it easily accessible where you can jump from one film to the next on certain discs. They didn't have to provide these great bonus features. They didn't have to provide for the first time the Japanese cut, the King Kong vs. Godzilla. They didn't have to do it. They really didn't have to do it, but you know what? They did. And I think that's a thank you to the fans. They have stuck by Godzilla for so many years. And basically, the Showa series is just the golden era, in my opinion, of Godzilla. Now, I love the Heisei, I love the Millennium, and I love the Monsterverse. But once again, all that doesn't happen without the awesomeness of the Showa series. So please, if you want this release, please go after this release. You will not be disappointed. Now, when it originally came out, now I know some people probably wondering about the price. Now, when it originally was announced, the original price for this thing was actually $224, which honestly still isn't bad considering what you're getting. You're getting 15 restored Showa Godzilla films, all within one set. Because they could have done, Criterion Collection I'm talking about, they could have done the money grab and greedy route. They could have basically released every single film individually like they did with the original Godzilla. And when I paid for that version of Godzilla from the Criterion Collection many years ago that I mentioned earlier, I paid $25 for that one disc from that for that one release. Can you imagine paying $25 for 15 films? And so now, when it was first announced, $224 still isn't bad considering what you're getting. However, it did get slashed in price when it first came out to $179. But guess what? If you go to your nearest Barnes & Noble, they have this thing on sale right now, I think through the month of November, for $112. You cannot beat that. You cannot beat this deal. This is a steal. That's, once again, if you're a Godzilla fan, of course you know this is already an expensive hobby where you buy these great figures. But these figures are not cheap, so you already aware that this hobby is not exactly the cheapest in the world. But $112 for a set like this, and if you round it out to 15 restored, massively restored, awesome films from the Showa era, that's like what, $10 a disc or $10 a movie? You can't beat the price. So once again, if you go to your nearest Barnes & Noble, please go after this release. Once again, it's $112 for what I understand for the rest of November. Now, Barnes & Noble only carries maybe 2 or 3 in the store. So trust me, if you are listening to me right now, if you can hear my voice, if you have Barnes & Noble near you, go to them right now. If you want this set, go to your nearest Barnes & Noble right now and get the set. Now, if it's sold out by the time you get there, you can always go online and order one through their warehouse, and they'll send it to you for $112. You cannot beat that. You cannot beat that. This is an awesome set. Considering what you're getting, considering the effort that they put into putting this release together. You know what I'm saying? The transfers and restoration of these awesome films, the bonus features, the English dubs added to certain number of these films. Trust me, this is the best package, especially if you're a Godzilla fan, and especially if you're a Showa fan. And once again, this makes me proud. This makes me really proud to be a Godzilla fan. You know what I mean? Because once again, I know a lot of people kind of thumb their noses up at the Showa series. Some people don't really like the Showa series. They find it primitive. They find it goofy. They don't like how Godzilla was changed from a serious dark character to a goofy superhero one by the end of the Showa series. But you know what? That's the charm of the Showa series. This series is awesome on so many levels, where you see Godzilla go from a dark just manifestation of an evil villain in 54 to another evil villain in 62 and 64 to a father figure in 67 to a full-fledged superhero in 72 and 73 and 74 and 75. You have all that and more in the Showa series, and if you want to get yourself exposed to that time period, you have to look no further than this awesome set right here. Yes, yes, yes. Once again, this makes me so proud. I'm happy that the Criterion Collection has finally recognized Godzilla to be such an important character. And it makes me feel so honored to love this guy and to be a part of this awesome community. And I'm just hoping and I'm thinking, you know what, Eiji Tsuburaya, Tomiyuki Tanaka, Inoshiro Honda, Akira Ifukube, Haruo Nakajima, everybody that was involved with the Showa series that have passed on and they're in heaven right now. I hope they can look down and see this release and have a big smile on their face and just know that all the work that they put in, the risky work they put in, the innovative work they put in has really paid off. And this is validation, in my opinion, that Godzilla finally gets the respect that he deserves. Once again, you may not like the Showa series, you may not like what they did with Godzilla in the Showa series, but you have to respect it. You have to respect it. So if you want this release, please get your hands on this release. You would not be disappointed. Go to your nearest Barnes & Noble where you can get it for $112. Maybe a few extra bucks for tax, probably bring that to maybe $115 and $120, but still $120 for what you're getting here. Trust me, there's a whole lot more that I have not mentioned yet. But hopefully I said enough that will make you, if you're on the fence about getting this or not getting this release, maybe I have encouraged you to get this release. Trust me, you will not be disappointed once you get your hands on the Criterion Collection of the Godzilla films from the Showa period from 1954 through 1975. And my dog is going crazy, which just means probably time for me to go. But I hope you enjoyed this release. This video dedicated to the Criterion Collection Showa films of Godzilla. I hope you enjoyed it. And once again, go to your nearest Barnes & Noble. Go online. Try and get your hands on this release. You would not be disappointed. Trust me when I say that. I hope you enjoyed my video as well as my my figures here devoted to the Showa series. Of course, these are not all the monsters from the Showa series. It's not all the monsters I have in my collection devoted to the Showa series, but all of them played a key role, you know, from the adult Mothra, the 1966 Godzilla, of course King Ghidorah, Gigan, Hedra, you know, the original Godzilla, the granddaddy of them all, you know, the King Caesar statue, the Moonlight SY3, the Planet X Controller or Planet X Alien. All these figures, especially Curse of X Plus, mind you, they all represent this awesome era of the Showa Godzilla film series. And once again, if you want to dive into it, look no further than this Criterion Collection release. You would not be disappointed. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, I got lots of stuff to do. I'm running so behind. But hopefully I can get myself caught up and y'all be entertained, at least have content flowing on the channel for the next 2 or 3 months, I should say. Not trying to say I'm going to dry up with ideas, because I don't think I will. But I have so much to do, from my Mark Sang-Yang custom King Kong Escapes Ultimate Diorama piece. I still got to do the X Plus 30cm Baragon 1966. I got to do my double review of the Godzilla 2000 25cm Orga. I just got my hands on the new Death for Real 2019 Godzilla and the Kong Skull Island Death for Real, so that will be coming real soon. I got a couple more live stream ideas. I got to do part 2 of the 1960s film and collectible discussion. I want to do a live stream devoted to Godzilla tag teams. I want to do one devoted to the Gigantic series. I want to do one devoted to the X plus Yuji Sakai line. I got so much stuff to do. Trust me, there's lots of stuff coming here on Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews, and I hope it will keep y'all entertained for the foreseeable future. But in the meantime, get this set. You will not be disappointed with this awesome set. Thank you to Criterion Collection for making this happen. Once again, the Criterion Collection's release of the Godzilla Showa films in high-def Blu-ray format from 1954 through 1975. You will enjoy this release. Trust me when I say that. All right? So thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see y'all again on this Figure and Move review. All right? Y'all take it easy.